Welcome to my woodshop, and welcome to my series of videos on the basic and safe use of the tools in the woodshop. In this video, we're going to be covering this tool, the bandsaw. The bandsaw is a fantastic tool, and it's useful for both beginners and experts alike in making the creations that they want to make inside of the woodshop. We're going to go over the things that you can adjust to make use of this particular saw and how to cut safely. Let's start by talking about the safe operation of the bandsaw. The most important thing you can do is just to simply keep your fingers away from the blade. There is on my bandsaw here and most bandsaws a plate that allows you to take it off and work with the blade, but it's also a guide, you see it's this bright color, to know when my fingers are getting a little too close to the blade and I either need to pay more attention and work more slowly or I need to back away a little bit. The bandsaw also offers some safety features. I've added this additional one, which is this light, which I can turn on and off and lets me see what I'm doing a little more closely. You may or may not have that with yours. But the more important thing is that if you do get into a problem where your blade is binding up or maybe you've nicked yourself or something like that, you want the blade to stop. The first thing that you want to do is to power it off. I have this power button here and I also have an emergency stop right here. But even when you do that, on most bandsaws, it's going to keep spinning freely. So hopefully there is on your bandsaw a brake. Some smaller saws don't tend to have them, but bigger saws like this usually do. My bandsaw has a brake that I operate with my foot down here. I press that and it should stop. Know where yours is on your bandsaw if it has one. Other than that, the important thing is that the blade itself is straight. It's not winding back and forth or wobbling left to right as it's operating, and that it's under the proper tension. There's a tension adjustment here on my bandsaw in the back. Some of them have them inside of the casing itself. The final safety mechanism to talk about is this blade guard here. It is something that you can adjust on most bandsaws by cranking this particular handle. I can bring it up and I can bring it down. Not only does this protect you from bumping into the blade anywhere, but it also provides a guide for the saw. As you see, you bring your piece in that you want to work with, you bring this down to a level where you can still see what you're working on, but it's not very far above the top surface of what you're working on. And that not only protects you a little bit more, makes it harder for you to get your fingers in there, but it also has a guide for the blade in there and keeps that blade from wandering any more than you want it to. So adjust this before you're making any cut, and you should be in a safe position to make that cut. The great thing about the bandsaw is that when you want to do a cut, it doesn't have to be a straight one. So let's say that I have this particular sample here. I'd already made a cut that followed this outline, but say I wanted to do this one instead. Well, the bandsaw allows me to do that. And when I'm doing that, all I need to do as I'm making my cut is to adjust my material as it passes through the blade. It has a limit depending on the size of the blade itself and the size of the material you're working with as to how much it can bend at once, but you can also tend to make multiple passes in order to get the cut that you really want. Keep in mind as you're making that cut that you want to be turning the material in anticipation of where the blade's going to be making that turn, not in the actual turn it's making where it's sitting. So be thinking just a few steps ahead as you're making your turn. In a case like this, there is no way for my saw to get down here and then make this sharp turn right here to go this other way. So I have a couple of options. I can make a cut straight in here first and then back it back out and then make one cut and another cut to come in there. I can come all the way in and then back that back out and then come in here as well. I think the safest thing for me to do is actually to make a straight cut across here first and back it out without having to curve my back out and then make two different cuts. Let me show you how that's done. Don't worry about moving too fast, especially when backing out of your cut. I'm running this particular film at 2 times speed. In general, it's best to stay just outside of your lines. The saw blade leaves a jagged edge, and so you'll probably want to use something like a router or a sander to get the final profile. The second most common way to use the bandsaw to cut wood is in a process called resawing. And what resawing means is rather than making a cut across a pattern on the flat surface here, we're going to tip it up this way and try and make this a thinner board. So to do that, I use a fence, and I've set this fence to a depth of 3/8 of an inch, meaning that I want to get out of this 1.5 inch stock 3 pieces that are thinner. Now, if you have your blade set up properly, you're using a thick enough blade to work through the material that you're working with, and you've set your safety mechanism so that this stop is just above the surface once again. You have the right tension, the right thickness of the blade, then doing this is something that should be able to be approached by even a beginner to the tool. The important part is to work slowly. I'll show you how I do it, but I'm almost certain to speed up that video, probably 8 times. So don't match the pace that I'm going. I'm trying not to bore you. To be safe, just go ahead and work slowly with it pressed up against this fence. And that should cover the 2 basic uses of the bandsaw and doing it in as safe a manner as possible. I hope you enjoyed seeing the content of this video, and it gives you the confidence that you need to use this tool to make the things that you're interested in making. Enjoy that process. Have fun in the wood shop. Enjoy making the sawdust and the projects that you have in mind. If you liked what you saw in this video, please take a look at the other videos that I have in this series showing the basic and safe use of the tool.